Okay, so getting ready for a primary school teacher interview. Huh. Talk about a unique challenge. You really want to be ready for whatever those hiring managers throw at you.
It's true. You're not just prepping for any interview, are you?
Exactly. That's why we're going to dig into some of those common interview questions today, and we're bringing RoleCatcher's awesome resources along to, help you knock it out of the park.
Smart move. These interviews, they're about way more than just knowing your ABCs and 123s. They're looking for passion, that spark. How would you handle, like, a classroom bursting with energy, that kind of thing?
Right. It's like you're not just teaching, you're orchestrating, you know, like a symphony of learning.
I like that. A symphony of learning, but you're right.
But before we even get there, RoleCatcher's Career Guide, it actually paints a really interesting picture of what it's really like. And let me tell you, it's not all glitter and glue sticks.
True. Rewarding, absolutely. But, the guide's honest about what it takes to teach ages 5 to 11. Those long hours, maybe a challenging parent or two. And yeah, okay, maybe the starting salary isn't always the best.
They do highlight those long holidays, though. Can't forget about those.
Always a plus.
Always a plus. But let's be real, you're here because you want to see those light bulb moments.
Oh, sure.
To make a difference.
Absolutely.
And that all starts with acing this interview.
Okay, so how do we do that?
Well, first, you've got to know your enemy.
Did you know a lot of schools are using these automated systems now?
Oh, to scan applications.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. And RoleCatcher, they really emphasize this on their website. Those systems, they can be brutal.
Yeah.
If your CV isn't like laser focused on that job description,
God.
you're right. A human might never even see it.
And that's where RoleCatcher's AI swoops in, like, bam! Superhero time.
Saves the day.
It analyzes those job descriptions, figures out those magic keywords, and helps you sprinkle them in.
Love it.
So you're speaking the system's language. It's like giving your application, that turbo boost. Gets you right to the top.
I love that. Okay, but enough about the robots. Let's talk about the humans. Interview questions. So picture this. You're face-to-face with the principal, right? Maybe there are some colorful alphabet posters on the wall.
Setting the scene here. I love it.
And they ask you, how do you create a positive and inclusive classroom environment? Seems like a simple question, right?
It does, but they're looking for more than just, oh, I'm a nice person.
Right.
They want to know, you've thought about this. How do you make every student feel like they belong?
Show, don't tell, right?
Exactly.
So how would you answer that, especially for those little ones in primary school?
So I'm thinking about diverse books, materials that reflect the kids' backgrounds, right?
Oh, yes.
RoleCatcher's Guide also talks about incorporating different learning styles. Some kids need to move, some need quiet.
So it's everything. It's the classroom setup, the lesson plans, how you interact with each little person.
You've got to be intentional.
Intentional. Which is probably why the very next question might be, how do you differentiate instruction to meet the needs of all learners?
Because every student's unique, and they want to know you get that. This is where you show off those flexible teaching muscles.
Okay, let's see them. Flex those muscles. Give me some examples.
Okay. Think tiered assignments. Let's say you're teaching about plants, right?
Okay, I like plants.
Some kids might draw a diagram.
Visual learners.
Exactly.
Well,
Others, maybe they're ready to do some research and present about a specific plant, all based on their level.
oh, I love that. It keeps everyone engaged, everyone challenged.
That's the goal.
And guess what? RoleCatcher, they've actually got this whole section on their platform, helps you craft these amazing answers.
It's true, yeah. And it's tailored to the job you want.
so smart.
It's like having a secret weapon. You can even practice and get AI feedback, like your own personal coach.
Sign me up.
Huh.
Okay, next question. And I have a feeling you might be dreading this one. How do you build relationships with parents and guardians? Because let's face it, parents can be.
Passionate.
That's one word for it.
It's true. But you've got to build those relationships. RoleCatcher emphasizes this. Communication is key.
Okay, so what does that look like? What are we talking about here?
Think regular newsletters, maybe a classroom blog, even an app. You're sharing updates, celebrating those wins with the kids.
Oh, I love that. You're making them part of the journey.
Exactly.
It creates that transparency.
And never underestimate those old-fashioned parent-teacher conferences. Face-to-face works wonders.
Human connection still important. Okay, question number 4. This is a big one. How do you assess student learning and progress? Now, I'm picturing standardized tests, mountains of grading, but it's got to be more nuanced than that, right? Especially with younger kids.
You're right. It's the whole picture, not just one test on one day. RoleCatcher talks about formative assessments, those little check-ins you do during a lesson.
Oh, like exit slips or thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah.
Quick checks.
You got it. Or student portfolios. You're collecting their work all year.
Oh, so they can see how much they've grown.
Exactly.
And parents love that too.
Oh, absolutely.
And I know some teachers are using tech for this too, like those online learning platforms.
Where kids work at their own pace, get instant feedback, love it.
It's like, how do you show the interviewer you're down with tech?
Right. You're using it thoughtfully. It's a tool to help kids learn, not just a distraction.
Exactly. Speaking of tools, can we take a quick second to brag on RoleCatcher's CV Builder?
Go for it.
It can help you really showcase those technology skills.
Oh, it's huge. And trust me, in today's world, even primary schools, they're looking for those skills.
100%. Okay, speaking of sought-after skills, how do you handle challenging student behavior in the classroom? Because, let's be honest, those little angels, sometimes
They test us.
they test our patience.
It's going to happen. The key is how you respond. RoleCatcher's Guide, they emphasize having a plan.
A plan from day one.
From day one.
Classroom management.
Clear expectations, consistent consequences, but most importantly, building those strong relationships.
Because when they feel seen,
Yes.
they're less likely to act out.
Exactly. And when they do, because it's gonna happen, stay calm. No power struggles. Okay.
Right.
You're redirecting, reinforcing those good choices.
And sometimes you got to call in reinforcements.
Of course. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Collaborate with other teachers. Loop in the school counselor.
Teamwork.
Exactly.
And guess what? RoleCatcher's got you back there too. Did you know they can actually connect you with other educators in your area?
They can. It's amazing. Networking, finding a mentor, so important.
It's like having a built-in support system.
Yeah.
Because teaching, let's be real, it can be isolating.
It can be. Having those people who get it makes all the difference.
Okay, next question's a big one, especially in today's world. How do you differentiate your teaching for English language learners?
Ugh, such an important one. Because not every student walks in speaking fluent English, do they? We have to make sure everyone feels supported no matter what.
Absolutely. So how do you show the interviewer that you're up for that challenge?
Visuals, 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 pictures, diagrams. When you're teaching new words, use the real thing if you can.
Hands-on.
Yes. And RoleCatcher had a great tip. They said, provide a glossary of terms, maybe simplified instructions.
So you're meeting them where they are.
Exactly. Scaffolding that learning. And don't forget about their native language and culture.
Yes. Celebrate it.
Yes, it shows you value their background. Even simple things like labeling the classroom in both languages.
Oh, I love that. Okay, on to question number 7, and something tells me this one might be right up your alley. How do you integrate technology into your teaching? Because those days of chalkboards and overhead projectors, long gone, my friend.
Don't even get me started on those overhead projectors. But you're right, technology, it's an amazing tool. Just don't rattle off every gadget, you know? Focus on how tech can help kids learn better.
So instead of just saying, I love using interactive whiteboards, tell them how those whiteboards bring lessons to life.
Yes, maybe they help your visual learners or make it easier for kids to work together.
Show them you're not just tech savvy, you know how to use it effectively.
Yes, and don't forget to mention any specific educational apps or websites you use.
Oh, good point.
Yeah.
Shows you're staying current.
Exactly. And speaking of current, that takes us right into question number 8.
Hit me.
How do you incorporate social emotional learning, SEL, into your teaching?
Oh, SEL. Everyone's talking about it these days. But it's important stuff. We're not just teaching academics, right?
Right. We're teaching them to be good humans. Empathy, self-awareness, building relationships. Those are life skills.
So important. And you're laying the foundation for all that in primary school. So how do you even begin to weave SEL into your teaching without it feeling like just another subject?
You've got to create a classroom where kids feel safe sharing their feelings.
Safe space.
Yes. How about a morning meeting to check in on how everyone's feeling?
I love that.
Maybe some mindfulness exercises or use books to explore different emotions.
Oh, those teachable moments. And it's also about having those open conversations, right?
Yes. About bullying, respecting each other, kindness.
Equipping them with those tools for healthy relationships.
Exactly. It's essential for their well-being.
Mhm.
Honestly, it's like you become more than just their teacher. You're a guide, a cheerleader, sometimes even like an emotional first responder.
That is such a good point. And you know what else can make those tough days a little bit easier?
What's that?
RoleCatcher. Their AI feedback is like a little boost of confidence, knowing you've practiced those tough questions. Game changer.
It's true. It's like having a secret weapon.
Yeah.
And speaking of secret weapons, they have this amazing feature. You can actually record yourself answering these questions.
Wait, really?
And the AI gives you feedback
No way.
on your delivery, your content, even your body language.
It's like having a personal coach analyze your every move.
Exactly. So you're ready for the real deal. Okay, we've covered a lot, but there's one final question that can trip people up. How do you stay current with developments and trends in education?
This is the one where you show them you're a lifelong learner. You're passionate about this field, and you're always growing.
So it's not enough to just say, oh, I read a lot. Give me some specifics. How do you stay ahead of the curve?
Think professional development. Have you attended any conferences lately? Taken any online courses?
What about those webinars? Everyone loves a good webinar.
Exactly. And it's not just about attending, it's about what you do with that knowledge.
Right. You got to apply it, see what works, make it your own.
Yes. Be genuine. Talk about how it's impacting your students, your teaching.
Show them you're not just keeping up with the trends, you're setting them.
Yes. Love that energy.
Okay, we are going to take a quick pause here, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, even more interview insights and strategies, including how to handle those curveball questions and how to let your awesomeness shine through. Stay tuned.
It's true. It's that passion that really makes a difference in an interview.
Totally. Okay, before we get totally inspired and run off to apply for teaching jobs, we still have some questions to unpack.
Oh, you're right. Back to those interview hot seats.
Exactly. So we talked about adjusting your teaching for different learning styles. But what about the students who are, well, still learning English?
Ah, yes. That question about differentiating for English language learners, such a crucial one.
So crucial. What are some things you'd want to highlight for a primary school, specifically?
Visuals, visuals, visuals. Pictures, diagrams, the real deal whenever possible.
Ooh, I like that.
Right. And RoleCatcher suggested this too, having a glossary of terms ready, or even just simplified instructions for tricky tasks.
It's all about building those bridges, right?
Exactly. And don't forget, whenever you can, bring in their native language and culture.
Yes. Celebrate it.
It shows you value who they are, makes the classroom truly inclusive. Even just labeling things in both English and their native language can make them feel so seen.
Oh, 100%. Those little things make all the difference.
They do. And speaking of little things that make a big difference, we've got to give RoleCatcher another shout out. Their AI can actually help you fine-tune your interview language.
Oh, tell me more.
Like, it can flag if you're accidentally using jargon or being too complex.
Which, let's be honest, easy to do when you're nervous in an interview.
Oh, for sure. But you want to sound approachable for those primary school interviews.
Right. Like someone those kids would actually want to hang out with.
Okay, but while we're on the topic of connection, let's loop back to building those relationships with parents, because that can be, well,
A make it or break skill.
pretty much. Parents are so invested, and rightfully so. So how do you reassure the interviewer that you're ready to build those awesome positive partnerships?
Communication is key. And I don't just mean like a monthly newsletter, although those are good too.
Right. RoleCatcher's guide really emphasized being proactive. So we're talking positive notes home, phone calls to celebrate the good stuff, even setting up a class website maybe so they can easily find what they need.
I love that. Make them feel like part of the team.
Exactly. And when you do hit a bump in the road, because it's gonna happen,
Oh, it's coming.
whether it's a parent concern or a student's behavior, approach it with empathy. You're on the same team.
Collaboration over conflict.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, let's circle back to that question about challenging behavior, because that one tends to throw people off.
Oh, yeah. That question about how you handle the tough stuff in the classroom, that can feel like walking a tightrope.
It does. So let's say they ask you straight up, how do you handle challenging behavior in the classroom?
Mm-hmm.
What are some real strategies that would impress, let's say, a primary school hiring committee?
Okay, so first you want to show them you're not just reacting to problems, you're preventing them.
Love that.
So talk about clear rules from day one, routines, structure,
Yeah.
all that good stuff.
Kids thrive on that consistency.
They do. And if a student does act out, you've got to stay calm, address the behavior directly, but no drama. Explain those consequences clearly and give them a chance to make it right.
Teaching those important life skills, not just punishing.
100%. And here's the thing, you don't have to do it all alone.
Teacher superheroes, assemble.
Exactly. Mention that you'd reach out to colleagues, maybe the school counselor, even parents, if needed.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
It really does. And this is another area where RoleCatcher shines. Their platform can actually connect you with other educators.
Oh, for real. Tell me more.
They have this whole section for networking. You can find a mentor, join these really cool learning communities, even get into online discussions about like specific classroom management tactics.
It's like having a support system right there in your pocket.
Right.
Because teaching, it's amazing, but it can be isolating, right?
Absolutely. Having that network of people who get it makes a world of difference.
Okay, switching gears a bit, let's talk about the part of the interview where you get to brag on yourself a little. Because that question, why should we hire you, is coming.
Oh, I know that one. The dreaded sell yourself question.
It's coming, but it's your time to shine. What would you say to really make them remember you?
Instead of just listing everything on your resume.
Right, because they've already read that.
Exactly. Talk about what makes you you as an educator, what gets you excited to teach.
Your why.
Yes, your why. What's your teaching style? What kind of learning environment do you create?
Show them that passion. Let your personality shine through.
Yes. Make it clear why you love working with kids, why you believe in the power of education. And here's a pro tip.
Hit me.
Connect your skills and experiences back to their school. What's their mission statement? What are they looking for? Show them you've done your research and you'd be a perfect fit.
It's like you're putting a puzzle together, right? Showing them how all those amazing pieces of you create this incredible teacher. Okay, but before we get too metaphorical here, we still have a few more questions to cover, including that really important one about staying current with all the latest in education. Okay, so we're back, ready to tackle the final interview question.
The one that can make or break you.
The one and only.
Yeah.
This is where you show them you're not just passionate about teaching, but about always learning and growing as an educator.
Ah, I see. You're talking about the question, how do you stay current with developments and trends in education?
Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner. It's not enough to just say, oh, I read a lot. You've got to show them you're actively seeking out ways to improve.
Okay, so what are we thinking? Conferences, workshops, all that good stuff.
Exactly. Those webinars everyone loves. Have you joined any professional learning communities? What about online courses?
Oh, and those are everywhere these days.
They are, but don't just rattle off a list. Tell them what you learned. Did it change how you teach? Did it help your students?
Show them you're not just keeping up, you're ahead of the game.
Yes, you're setting those trends. And you know who else can be a great resource for that?
Who? Don't leave me hanging.
RoleCatcher. Their platform has this whole section dedicated to, like, leveling up your teaching game.
Yeah.
Courses, certifications. They even have mentorship opportunities.
Oh, wow. Like a personalized PD guide.
Exactly. Speaking of guides, remember RoleCatcher's career guide that we talked about earlier?
The one with all the details about being a primary school teacher.
The one and only. It not only breaks down the day-to-day, but it also talks about, like, where you can go from here.
Oh, like career paths.
Exactly. Because landing that first teaching job, it's a huge deal. But it's just the beginning.
So true.
The guide mentions things like becoming a department head, an instructional coach, even pursuing further education to really specialize in something you're passionate about.
So many options. I love it.
Right. And guess what? RoleCatcher can help you figure out those next steps. They even have this cool feature where you can connect with other educators in your area.
Oh, that's so smart. Networking is everything.
It is. Because, let's be real, teaching, it's a tough job.
It can be.
Having that support system, those people who get it, game changer.
100%. Someone to celebrate with, someone to vent to.
Someone to share lesson plan ideas with when you're feeling stuck.
It makes all the difference.
Well, I think we've covered just about everything you need to know to absolutely rock that primary school teacher interview.
From understanding what the job really entails to crafting those perfect answers.
With showing them your passion, your dedication, your awesomeness.
You're going to blow them away.
You've got this. The world needs more passionate, dedicated teachers like you, so go out there and get them.